So it's been about 7 months since I got my hands on the iPhone 16 Pro Max, and this thing has been basically glued to me ever since. It's either in my pocket, on my gimbal, or attached to some other gadget I'm using. And today I want to share my real thoughts after using it for so long. Plus, with the iPhone 17 just a few months away, should you even buy this? And I will also talk about what I love, what bugs me, and honestly, after trying out some crazy Android phones, and whether this thing is getting a bit boring. So let's be real here. The best thing about the iPhone 16 Pro Max is that it's, well, an iPhone. You know what you're getting. The design is classic Apple, clean lines, premium materials, and that signature feel in your hand. The widgets on the lock screen, dynamic island for quick controls and live activities, they all make the experience very smooth and honestly a bit addictive. The new control center in iOS 18 is way more customizable. I love being able to tweak widgets, and here's the thing that might surprise you. Almost all of these features are now available on the last year's iPhone 15 Pro Max too. So if you're coming from that model, don't expect it to surprise you. Now, speaking of things that haven't changed that much, let me talk about something that Apple absolutely nails every single time: the Apple ecosystem. And this is where the iPhone really shines. The Apple ecosystem is just brilliant. Handoff, continuity, seamless switching between AirPods, file transfer, it's all here. And it's pure Apple magic. But again, these are the perks that you get with any other iPhone, not just the iPhone 16 Pro Max. Now let me talk about one of the new features that I've actually been using way more than expected, is the action button. Now it's still one of my favorite features because I use it all the time to trigger Do Not Disturb or to run custom shortcuts. And so for stuff like these, it's pretty cool. It's not something revolutionary, but definitely handy once you get used to it. Alright, let's talk about the physical stuff, how this thing actually feels in your hand. So the bezels are slimmer and the 6.9-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display is gorgeous as always. Scrolling through news feeds and watching content looks fantastic. But honestly, this phone is definitely bigger and heavier than before. On long days, I definitely feel the weight, and if your hands are small, the regular Pro model is probably a better pick for you. But you know what? The bigger size does come with one major benefit that I love, which is the battery on this phone. Like most days, I end up with 40-50% battery left, and even on heavy usage, like when I was sick and glued to my phone, it lasted for a full 8 hours of screen on time. Now the Face ID is still the gold standard for unlocking, and this titanium finish still looks sharp after months of use. Now here's something you probably won't see in any other review, but I think it's worth mentioning. So Apple has quietly upgraded the mics, and I've noticed clear voice recordings and calls. I won't call it a headline feature, but it's one of those features that's really nice to have. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, the thing that Apple made the biggest deal about, which is the Apple Intelligence. Now, Apple Intelligence was a big promise that got everyone hyped up. And when Apple first announced it, I was seriously excited. But after 6 months, it feels like a mixed bag. Like we've got writing tools, image playground, background removal, notification summaries, priority mails, it's all here. Memoji is fun for about 5 minutes. And the writing tools, I still find myself using Grammarly because Apple suggestions just aren't that smart. And Siri, honestly guys, it's gotten worse. For anything beyond setting a basic timer, it just sends me to ChatGPT. You can disable that, but Siri does not feel like the smart assistant Apple really promised. The only Apple Intelligence features I regularly use are background removal in photos and the new mail tools. That's it. Now let's talk about something more positive, which is the performance, because this phone is blazing fast. But unless you're gaming hardcore or doing heavy video editing, it's honestly more power than you'll ever need. And for everyday stuff like social media, streaming, multitasking, it's smooth, stable, and top the charts. But here's where the phone really shows its strength, especially if you're a content creator like me. Because after 6 months, this is where the iPhone 16 Pro Max is absolutely killing it, especially for videos. So other brands might have bigger sensor and more megapixels, but nothing beats the iPhone when it comes to reliable, high-quality videos. Shooting at 4K 120 ProRes, the iPhone 16 Pro Max delivers detailed videos where the colors look natural and the cinematic mode is one of the most realistic in the game, even though it's stuck at 4K 30. Zooming is smooth, and finally you can pause and resume video recordings. And the clarity is surprisingly very good. Plus, all your social apps, especially Instagram, get all the new features first on your iPhone. And for the photos, the iPhone still does a lot right. It automatically captures depth data, so you can turn any regular shot into a portrait shot later. Super handy when you are in the moment and don't want to think about anything else. The new photo styles let you tweak the look before and after you shoot, helping you escape that typical iPhone look. But I just cannot ignore the downsides because there are definitely some things that keep bugging me. So the selfie camera hasn't really improved in years, and that annoying lens flare in low light is still visible, even with Apple's new coatings. And then there's the camera control button. Cool idea on paper, but in reality, I barely use it. Like most of the time, I just double press it to open the camera app, and I switched off all the extra gestures because they kept going off by accident. So all that said, for 90% of my content, photos, videos, and stories, this is still the phone I reach out for. It's not perfect, but it's always in my pocket, always ready, and it always gets the job done. So after all this, you might be wondering, should you actually buy this thing? Look, the iPhone 16 Pro Max is Apple's flagship phone with faster performance, better battery and improved camera features. It does everything well. But I also feel like it's gotten a bit stale. We need better sensors, especially for the telephoto lens, and I get jealous of my friends with the S25 Ultra and that gorgeous anti-reflective screen. Nothing's confirmed yet, but we have seen some mock-ups showing a pretty big overall for the iPhone 17 lineup. So in the 17 lineup, we might get the regular iPhone 17, the iPhone 17 Air, the iPhone 17 Pro and the iPhone 17 Pro Max. The Air looks futuristic but will compromise on camera and battery life, whereas the Pro Max will have an even better battery, better cooling and maybe the first triple 48-megapixel camera setup with a much better telephoto lens. All models should be upgraded with the selfie camera and the new A18 chips, plus the much awaited 120Hz will finally be there across all iPhones, even the base iPhone 17. So what do you think about the 16 series? Are you planning to upgrade to a new iPhone 17 in September? Let me know your thoughts on the new iPhone 17 lineup in the comments below and I'll see you next time.